And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to season 2 of the Loves Gymnastics podcast, brought to you by the Loves Gymnastics Network, brought to you by the creator of this, Michaela Loves Gymnastics, and her co-host, Oscar, aka Gymnastics Saves Lives, Miss Shayna, and Ezra. And together, we bring you the Loves Gymnastics podcast. Season 2 begins now. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. We love and appreciate you. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, bring more people into the community. It's NCAA 2025 time. Let's go, girls! And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Welcome back to my channel, Michaela Loves Gymnastics. Are y'all ready to begin the show? Do y'all want to start off with the, oh, I'm so sorry. It's been like 2 weeks since we've had a podcast. And Oscar's on vacation. Shayna's tired from work. Ezra's busy doing a teenage life. And I went out of town last week. And ever since I've been out of town, I have not had a day off. And I feel kind of sick right now. Do y'all want to really get into all of that? Or do y'all want to get into the meats and potatoes of what the skating lesson had to say? Because that's what I want to get into. And then we can do all of that at the end. Let's go.
What makes me uncomfortable is not everyone who's on that plane was that talented at skating, right? Like, I don't think that it was worth like the gamble of giving up your life and your education and everything for skating. Like, that's what hit me when I was doing the writing tributes to people. I was like, these people died. And yes, they were at a development camp, which they loved, but they were also being taken advantage of because we all know they weren't going to make it in skating, right? Like, and it seemed like their families were hook, line, and sinker.
Hey, Nisha. So, that's what was said. Those comments were very on the light end of things derogatory, on the harsher end of things pure, vile, and evil. There's just no two ways around it. But see, I used to be part of this blog podcast talk show called We Love Gymnastics, right? And listening to them say that really helped understand what happened between me and addicts. Now, this is in no way me degrading. This is me talking about myself. This is me going to take accountability for my actions. Again, I'm not trying to bring addicts in this. It's just me and addicts had a talk show together. Okay, so I have no other way of presenting this information without saying me and addicts. So, yeah, addicts, when you watch this, talking about you, I'm taking ability for my part in all of the shenanigans that went down with We Love Gymnastics. Let me start off with the conversation like this. I loved the skating lesson. I knew about the skating lesson before I knew about a gymnastics, before I knew about us, before I even came up with a We Love Gymnastics, before I, all things gymnastics, all the podcasts, I knew about the skating lessons, right? And I discovered the skating lesson back in around 2016. They were the only podcast that I knew. Again, I understand, but back then I did not know. The skating lesson was the only podcast that I had that taught gymnastics. And they also taught figure skating, which kept me interested in the sport of figure skating. Fell in love with that podcast, that show, especially Dave. I think it's Dave. I think it's Solis. I literally fell in love with him because he literally gave me what I needed from definitely from figure skating, but when he covered gymnastics a little bit, he gave me what exactly how I like things. I have to take responsibility for myself that I tried to model me being on We Love Gymnastics after the skating lesson. I 1000% did. I absolutely love this lesson. Do y'all not hear me when I say this? I loved the skating lesson. The skating lesson gave you the tea. The skating lessons gave you the behind the scenes. The skating lessons did not take I'm not going to say they didn't take the time to research, but they didn't present the information in a CNN, MSNBC, Fox News type of way. They presented the information in a TMZ, Access Hollywood type of way. And to me, it made the sport of figure skating entertaining because after 2014, definitely after 2014, I completely lost my interest in figure skating because I was so upset with the results and it just made no sense to me. Let's hit the water story today. So sorry, we hitting the water story today, y'all. So I absolutely loved everything, the way the skating lessons presented themselves, the way they presented their stories, the way they, let me just be honest, the way they talked their shit and gave two fucks what any of the damn skating community had to say. I really loved that podcast. They were the tea in 90% of the time. Of course, there was 10% of the time they weren't right, but 90% of the time, they were absolutely right with the information they presented, and they would present the information weeks ahead of what other sports organizations would present their information. Now, I'm not tapped into the figure skating community, so I'm sure there's other figure skating podcasts, whatever, but I'm not tapped into the figure skating community like that, so let me just say that I don't know. I don't know. I'm only talking about what I know. So when I got the opportunity to create a talk show podcast with addicts, especially in the shitstorm that we created the show. You have to remember, we created the show basically in the midst of a Twitter feud, right? I'm not going to go into it because that would be me talking about addicts, but we created the show in the midst of a Twitter feud. So I can't even lie. I gave absolutely two shits about what people said, what people's opinions of the show was. I gave two shits. I was going to get on my podcast and say what the fuck I wanted to say, right? And then bitch was going to stop me. And I think that was, more than anything else, what was the dividing factor in me and addicts. It's like, we're on the show together. This is what we do. We talk shit. Why are you stopping me from talking shit? But in hindsight, almost 2 years later, I'm happy things went the way that they did. And I'm happy me and addicts are slowly starting to communicate again. And I hope that we're able to rebuild a friendship, not based on the drama and the chaos of the damn gymternet and the gymnastics community. And I said all of that to say that I built my part of We Love Gymnastics off of the skating lessons, not off of gymcastics, which many people used to compare us to gymcastics. I used to be offended to that because gymcastics was the news, in my opinion. Gymcastics is gymnastics CNN. That's not what I was trying to do. That is not what I was trying to do. What I wanted to do was to be, I used to say it, the Wendy Williams of gymnastics, the TMZ of gymnastics, literally the skating lessons of gymnastics. But when you get on these people's internet and you start to get negatively rewarded, I'm so sorry, I'm saying that wrong. When you get on these people's internet and you start to get positively rewarded for negative behavior, it starts to get to your head. And not only does it start to get to your head, people start to know you for that, right? Like, for example, for me, if I was to be up here cussing out the skating lessons, I know it would be like 20 people watching right now, because that's what people like from me. That's kind of the reputation I built for myself with the We Love Gymnastics brand. I was that. I am that still, but the reputation I got was the loud, brashy Black woman that was ready to cuss a bitch out at any moment in time, right? And that's, if the people who know me, that's not really fully, because that is partially me, but that's not fully who I am, right? And I feel like with We Love Gymnastics, as much as I want to criticize what Dave said on his podcast on the skating lessons, if that same tragedy would have happened in the gymnastics community, could I have seen myself saying something very similar and then trying to backtrack and then not giving a damn when you all criticized? Rightfully so. The bullshit that I would be saying, absolutely. Absolutely. And there are a plethora of gymnastics podcasts that if this tragedy happened within the gymnastics community, Y'all would have crow to eat too. Y'all would be putting y'all feet and toes and hips and thighs in y'all mouths. And I'm not even talking about little gymnastics platform like mine. I'm talking about bigger platforms too. There's a comfortability that I think a lot of hard stop, comma. I also think a lot of us, me included, I want to say big head, that's not the right term. It strokes your ego that you have, the attention that you have from giving an opinion on a sport that you love. And I think that goes for a lot of people within the gymnastics community, a lot of people within the figure skating community, who within cheer community. That damn cheer community is a motherfucker. A lot of people get into so much trouble behind this particular incident is because the tragedy just happened. I think giving it some years, giving it 3 years in between the tragedy happening and him saying what he said, I don't think nobody would even bat an eye. I think the only reason people are being so upset with Dave right now and the skating lesson is because it happened so close to when the tragedy actually happened. Dave and Jonathan and the skating lesson platform, because Dave has cycled through a couple of different hosts on that podcast. They didn't grow to be the #1 figure skating podcast for being nice. There is a part of Dave's, Jonathan's harshness and brashness that you all like. And the reason why I know that is because I love it. That's why I used to watch the skating lesson. For those of you all who don't know, again, I'm talking about myself. When me and Addis was doing our podcast together, us and the skating lessons had a little bit of beef because somebody sent me something that they said about Simone's GOAT tour. I don't remember what it is at this moment in time, but they said it in a Patreon, but they were talking gymnastics, so of course y'all sent it straight to me. Shit, like y'all already knew. And it was something like USA Gymnastics was upset with Simone because they felt like her GOAT tour made any possibility of them having their own tour null and void. It was something like that. I don't remember what it was. It was that long ago. But the little girl, Dave, got into my little DMs threatening to sue me if I don't take my tweet down and all kind of fuck shit. So I just took the tweet down and, that's when I stopped following them. But that's when I knew that Dave wasn't such a nice person. But I still would. If when Worlds was happening or if it was Olympics, they would be my first resource of figure skating information. They had the best interviews. They got the best tea. But I think what happened, going back to talking about myself again and the Love Gymnastics podcast and how I try to run the Love Gymnastics podcast differently than we Love Gymnastics. Like when Ezra gets up here and talk about the white hoes, you see, we kind of try to be like, come on, no. Gymnastics is very white. We just can't be calling people white hoes. Like, you see, when me and Shayna gets back, how we don't like certain people, we skim around the issues, but we never go ham. And then when Oscar even trying to make us go hard on it, we won't. Like, we give our opinions. We try to be funny. We don't try to be hurtful. We don't try to go for the jugular. I feels like and I'm not blaming addicts, I'm blaming myself. I feel like I used to always go for the jugular. I used to feel like I used to always go for the lowest blow. Because I think it was funny. Because the thing is, and you know, I don't know these people, so I don't feel like, and me and him had a very small podcast, probably the same size podcast as I have now. And you think nobody's watching, but bitch, they're watching. There's not that many gymnastics podcasts out there, girls. So if you have one, somebody's watching. And it may not be the person you're talking about, but somebody that they know may be watching it, that may send it to their ass. Like, we have to be more cognizant as podcasters, as bloggers, as tweeters about what we say and how we say it, because these people really do read the shit. I'm pretty sure when David was saying what he was saying, he never thought this backlash would come back from USA figure skating. I think this man is going to get banned from everything. Like, nobody's going to go on his podcast. Nobody's going to go on his shit. Like, I don't know if the skating lessons can recover. Like, he would have to sell his part. If I think him and somebody else own it, he would have to sell it, because what he said was that bad. It just was. Even, you remember how I said earlier on, like, if it was a few years in between, I still would feel like it would be, I don't feel like he would get in trouble for it, but I still would feel like it's bad. Like, and it's that low-hanging fruit, man. Like, we just all got to do better as podcasters and bloggers and so on and so forth. And especially in this gymnastics community, I don't want to see podcasts rake him through the mud. I don't want to see podcasts dragging him for filth, because you may have not said that about dead people, but I'm pretty sure you said something else about somebody else that it's like, that's a part of the artistic factor of gymnastics and figure skating, right? And artistry is the difference between our sports, gymnastics, and figure skating, and like a sport like basketball, is because our sport is subjective. It is art, and this is a factor in gymnastics. It just like opinions factor in figure skating. Like Ilion, the young American boy who can triple at a quad axel. People read him for his artistry. I kind of like it. I like his artistry, but like I said, in gymnastics, I don't mind a robot. Give me a robot who can a little bit, and a robot who can tumble, and I'm here for it. I would prefer a robot over a ballerina any day of the week. But that's what I like. That's my opinion. And I do feel like I have the right to state that opinion. Just like I feel like I don't feel like he had the right. And for those who missed what was said,
what makes me uncomfortable is not everyone who's on that plane was that talented at skating, right? Like, I don't think that it was worth like the gamble of giving up your life and your education and everything for skating. Like, that's what hit me when I was doing the like writing tributes to people. I was like, these people died. And yes, they were at a development camp, which they loved, but they were also being taken advantage of because we all know they weren't going to make it in skating, right? Like, and it seemed like their families were hook, line, and sinker.
Taking accountability for my own self once again. The thing that drove me and Addis apart, what I said was, after Brody Malone was coming back from breaking his damn leg, I said something like he wasn't good enough to make the USA Gymnastics team. That's a blatant lie. That was mean for no reason. And Addis was right for cutting me off. And I'm an adult enough to admit it now. Like, he was absolutely right for cutting me off. And I should tell him that. I am going to tell him that. People said so much worse shit. No. That's a blatant, bold-faced lie. People have not said so much worse shit. People said just as bad, there we go, just as bad things, but giving it some distance and some time, we think it's funny. We think it's cute. Y'all give Jim Castis a lot of flack for the things they say, for the inaccuracies of what for the inaccuracies that they do, but Jim Castis tried very hard to be a news resource for gymnastics, right? They're not a T outlet. They're not TMZ. They're not Access Hollywood. It's just, I feel like there is a space for that. It just doesn't have to be Wendy Williams and TMZ. It could be Inside Edition. Y'all don't think Inside Edition is too hard, right? It could be, oh gosh, who plays around with the news, but still gives the news. It could be View. It can 100% be the View. And I guess that's the new direction of the show that I'm giving. I'm giving gymnastics commentary from a fan's point of view. Different fans from all ages, from all walks of life, gay, straight, married, single, trans, cis, all points of views on gymnastics. So with love, Dave, I wish you I pray for you, sir. I really do. I pray for your mental strength in all of this. I cannot imagine if I built the Love Gymnastics podcast to be that big of a platform that the skating lessons was, and to have to take it all down over 30 seconds. That's devastating. As somebody who's trying to build a gymnastics podcast and platform, that is, and it's not who took his. He had to take it down because of all the hate and all the shit that he was like. It's down off of YouTube. It's down off of Twitter. It's down off of Instagram. It's like the skating did. People are asking for him to be banned from the media passes revolt, and I think what USA figure skating had to say on this issue. Then, damn it, while we're here, let me share my screen. My internet might act up for a second. Slow down. I don't know where I put it at. Was this it? What? By the skating lesson regarding the tragic loss of those aboard Flight 5342. Such heartless rhetoric has no place in our community. We value and celebrate every member of the skating world, from Olympians to those who take their first steps on the ice. We refuse to let such vile narrative go unchallenged. USA Figure Skating. Bitch, I would have to take down this shit too. Justice actually said some shit like that about what the fuck I done said up on these people YouTube. Girl, I would be embarrassed. I would be gagged. I would be USA Figure Skating basically told them, bitch, y'all are no longer welcome and you are no longer a part of figure skating, bitch. Cut it out. So my question to y'all are, do y'all think the people will come back in 2 months? Do y'all think it's going to take 2 months for them people to come back? I don't know. I don't know. Oh. Why we actually spent like 30 minutes on that? Okay, cool. Then Hold on. Let me see if I'm frozen. No, I'm back. Okay. Moving right along to gymnastics. So this weekend we have the Baku World Cup. USA men's gymnastics and a handful of guys. Qualification was today. If you follow it on Twitch or Twitter, always rewatch it there. I have no real big opinions or anything on Baku World Cup until the actual finals. Um, I think that's the only thing gym happening this weekend. I think the USA women are sending a juniors team, but that's it. I think the men are sending a men's women's team. I mean, a men's senior and junior team. I think. So that should be exciting. So let's move on to the NCAA. Now I know we've been missing so much NCAA gymnastics. I know we've been missing so many previews. I'd have to try to give y'all 2 weeks worth of recaps, which y'all know it ain't gonna happen unless RJ helped me out in the chat with talking about giving me some things to talk about. Like, oh yeah, I remember that happened. So to apologize and say that I am so sorry, everybody. For whatever reason, we have become a week behind. This is why we were so confused in QS scores, because we were like, but there's only 6 scores. No, bitch, that was week 7. So there was many scores to drop and to do what needs to do to get your NQS ranking. So we just left week. Shit, I don't know. Let's see what week we are in. Oh, let's see what. NCAA gymnastics schedule. Okay. Does it say what we know? It's just giving me the schedule. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, so last was week 10. Let me share my screen so y'all, because I don't want y'all to think I'm this shit up. Last, as you all can see, from College Beach was week 10. Is week 11. And I think we have 1, maybe 2 weeks left in the regular season. Because it's like 13 weeks. So we probably have 2 weeks in the regular season left. And y'all see in results. Oh, no. So this is week 10 because that was from yesterday. My bad, people. My bad. I'm a bad gymnast. So this is week 10 coming up. So we have 3 weeks of gymnastics left, or 2 weeks. 2 or 3 weeks of gymnastics. So on Friday, it's 7 p.m. Friday. It's 95 degrees. It's Ohio State versus NC State. That's not going to get my attention. The next one is versus Westchester. Now here we go. 7 p.m. Friday. It's 95 degrees somewhere. Arkansas versus Kentucky. Arkansas. Ooh. Okay, so it's not about the win-loss records. It's about putting up the biggest number. Arkansas and Kentucky both need to be trying to push 197 at this meet. They both need to be trying to push 197 in this meet. Because they both stuck in that 196 range. They both need to be pushing 197. Then we have Cornell, South Connecticut at Temple at Rutgers. Then we have Iowa State at Iowa. Then we have Florida at Alabama. Florida at 8 p.m. Florida. You better do the damn thing, girl. You better do. Then 30 minutes later, we have Michigan at Oklahoma. Okay, so this is going to be a good Friday night. Then also at 8:30, we have Georgia at LSU. And this is the competition you need to focus on, girl. This is cute, too. But this is the competition you need to focus on, girl. Air Force at Utah State. We have Boise State at Southern Utah. We have Eastern Michigan and San Jose State at UC Davis. Regionals. I guess we have the lower level schools having regionals. Oh, that just threw me all the way off. I'm like, what the fuck? Okay, I'm so sorry. We have BYU. We have Penn at William and Mary. We have BYU at Arizona. We have Central Michigan Wilberforce at Western Michigan. We have Illinois State at Mississippi. I mean, it's not going to be, it's just going to be cute. Which is going to be cute because of Utah. Fisk at Century. The WIAC Championship Session 2. Greensville Seymour. New Hampshire at Nebraska. And these are Sunday. Okay. So the last meet on Saturday is going to be New Hampshire at Nebraska. Clemson, Penn State at George Washington. Ball State, Kentucky. And Missouri. Oh my gosh. Sunday at 1. That's another one. West Virginia, which should be all right. Arizona State at Denver, cute. We have Alabama comes again. Wow. Okay. We have the Elevate the Stage, Huntsville. Alabama is going to be at again against Cal, Michigan State, and North Carolina. But against Cal, Michigan State. Oh, this. Ooh, Alabama, you have a tough weekend, girl. Tough weekend, girl. Michigan at Sacramento, Texas women. Oregon State at San Jose State at 5. The J. Carey of it all. At 8:30, we have Stanford. Good. It should be real good, actually. For this weekend. So let's Georgia LSU. On Saturday, the meets we're paying attention to are, I'm going to say Illinois State and Minnesota, but really Washington and Utah. And Fisk are with. Now stay at George Washington. That should be cute in the Penn State got going on. Oh, I can't even beat. We have fucking Auburn on a Sunday at 1 o'clock. At 1 o'clock too? Yeah, so addicts, if you're paying attention, play Auburn in Missouri. And it was another one. West Virginia at Pittsburgh. Arizona State. Denver should be cute. It's to elevate the state. I bet you there probably won't be no stream. What's going to be on ESPN? Probably will be a stream. Okay. Alabama, California, and Michigan State at Huntsville, Alabama. Oregon State at San Jose State, and then Stanford at UCLA. Big meets for this weekend. Now, Alabama. I don't feel like in the SEC you should be ranked the Arkansas knocking on Auburn's door. Like you that good in the SEC, girl. I'm just so sorry. I understand that y'all lose and y'all lose big. But girl, y'all should still be last to the SEC. So my personal rankings, how I would rank the SEC in this moment in time. Again, I'm not going by the stupid NQS because how I truly feel about the NQS is stupid. it makes the sport that's already confusing even more. How has lost most of their matchups in the SEC gonna make it to the SEC championships when a team who beat two of the big top teams in the SEC is gonna be left home? So how I would rank the SEC is I'm going last Alabama, 7th. I mean, 8th is Arkansas. Is Auburn. 6th is Georgia. 5th, Kentucky. 4th is Florida. 3rd is Missouri. 2nd is LSU. And 1st is OU. That's how I would rank them. Weekend we have a Baku World Cup. Yeah, because Arkansas isn't competing this week, huh? Oh no, Arkansas is competing. Against Kentucky. And that's Arkansas issues. Even though they win with a 196 something. So yeah, I think I bored you all for enough. Thank you all for tuning in to this episode for me. And just remember, as y'all reading the skating lessons for Phil, it could have been anybody. Because we all on this damn internet. And with that being said, I love you all. With a full show with every damn cast member of the damn show. I can't even be mad because I don't pay them people, so it's all volunteer and love. With that being said, I love you all. Oh, let me give you all an outro. Let me see if I can find the outro. Oh yeah, and I'm on Twitter right now, so watch the replays over here because it's not gonna be on Twitter. See ya. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of